Who has their flip book on them? Okay, you could reference that. We're going to go through 8, 9, and 10. You guys should have already done it on Schoology. I mean, for homework, but I just want you to check your work. Okay? So, this question number 8 asked me to find x. What is x? It's a side. It's not an angle. It's a side. Okay? And how many sides does a triangle have? 3. We know 2 of them. We know this side, this side. We know, do I know all 3 angles? Yes. Because if this is 100 and this is 25, then this one must be 55, right? So I have all the angles, and I have 2 sides. So technically, what do I have? I have side, angle, side, right? Or I can say I have angle, side, angle. Okay, so if I'm missing if I have 2 angles and a side, or 2 sides and an angle, which rule can I use? Now you guys know that if it's not a right triangle, I only have 2 options. If it's a non-right triangle, okay, then I could use the law of sines or the law of cosines. Do you guys remember when you use the law of sines? When you have 2 sides and an angle, or 2 angles and a side. But when do you use law of cosines? When you have SSS or actually I don't remember now at the moment, so let's just leave that there. Okay, so law of sines. Okay, so how does law of sines look like? It looks like sine over some angle. You know how it says A here? Does it mean it has to be this A? No, it just means some angle. We're just calling it A. It could be X, it could be P, it could be Q for all I care. It doesn't matter. Okay? I could change it. I could call this A. Doesn't matter. Okay? Sine of A over little a equals sine of B over little b. Let's review what this means. What does the capital letter A stand for? An angle. What does the lowercase letter stand for? Which side? The side that's across or opposite from that angle. So you guys are pretty good at that. But some of you guys said the formula wrong. For example, you guys, I had people do, okay, well, let's just fill it out first. Okay, so what should I use? There's so many numbers. I don't know what to do. Well, for sure, since I'm missing which side? Since I'm mixing x, okay, that has to be in there somewhere, right? That has to be in my equation. Otherwise, what's the point of having this equation, right? You're setting up an equation with one missing, so you could solve for that missing and then get your answer. So this is my side. So that side, is that going to go in on the top or the bottom? Bottom, because remember the top is sine of an angle. The bottom is a side. It doesn't matter which one, so let's just go with this one, okay? So then which angle should I use for sine of A? The one that's opposite from my missing side. So sine of 25, but why? Because you have to use, if I use this side, I have to use the angle that's across from it, okay? So the sine of some angle has to be over the side that's opposite to that angle. And since I want to use this side missing, because that's what I'm trying to find, x and 25 are across from each other, right? So that's why I need to do that. Okay, what is going on? Okay, equals, now I have 2 options really. I could use sine of 100 over which side? 18. Or I could technically use 55 over, sine of 55 over 15, but it doesn't matter. So sine of, wait, what goes in here, 100 or 18? 100. The angle, 100 over 18. Now here's another thing. When you see sine of 25, go ahead and put a parentheses around that too, because you can never just have a sine by itself. I have people just having like sines, like just hanging out. Sine is incomplete without, it's a sine, it's a function, sine of what? Sine of an angle. So you always have to have something right here in this little pouch. Okay? One of the most common errors that I saw was people did this. Well, not most, but 25 over x equals 100 over 18. What's wrong with that? You're missing the sign. Okay? So you can't do that. That's not true. This law is the law of sines. It's not just the law of sides over angles, okay? So then what should I do? Okay, you can cross multiply, okay? So I don't really like the term cross multiply, huh? So this times this equals that times that, right? So when you guys so-called cross multiply, what you're really doing is you're multiplying x to both sides, and then you're multiplying 18 to both sides. So if I were to do that in one step, x times sine of 100 I mean, equals 18 times sine of 25. Notice how I use the parentheses. That's really helpful, okay, to keep it straight. When you put the parentheses, you can see the big picture. It's just something times something equals something times something. I know it looks like 5, 6 different things going on, but it's really just 4 things. A times B equals C times D. Okay? If I want to get x by itself, which is what the point is, what should I do? Divide by
Side of 100.
Then I saw people just say 100, 100. Can I do that? No, because well, I could, but that's not going to cancel this out. I need to divide by sine of 100 on both sides with my parentheses. Okay? Then what happens? The sine of 100 divided by sine of 100 is what? No, it's 1. Right?
What?
So, sine of 100 divided by sine of 100 is 1.
Oh,
What?
you're saying 1?
Yeah, 1. Yeah. Okay, so what's x is by itself, right? So I found x. It's this, right? So I'm going to take this whole thing and I'm going to move it over here. X equals, now how do I do this on my calculator? So the thing is, there's many opportunities to go wrong here. Okay? So first of all, what mode should I use? Degree or radians for this?
Show it on my calculator.
Yes. Do you want me to show it to you on the phone one?
On this road.
Miss, I have a question. I'm not sure if it's a dumb question or not, but like, since I know that 25 is like divisible by 100.
Okay. So you guys, that's a good question. Raquel says, can I do 25 over 100, like a fraction? No, because it's not 25 here. That's a big mistake. This is not 25. This is sine of 25.
That's why can it just be sine of 1 over sine of 4?
Good question. No. That's a red flag. Okay? That's very similar to the other red flag. You can't just like take no, because you can't just treat them like this is 25 over 100 and then this is sine over sine. No. That's why the parentheses are there. So you can't go into that house. Like you can't just take them out of the house. Like this whole thing is here and it has to divide by this whole thing. So, what I would do, because it's very easy to, okay, tell me what I'm doing wrong here. Okay? I'm going to do 25 times sine. Okay? Sine of 25 is 0.422. Oh shoot, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so if you're using something like this, I would literally go in and plug in as many decimal places as possible. Sine of 25 is 0.4226. That's usually enough decimals. What's sine of 100? 0.9848. Okay? So, x equals, notice how I have very nice format here, okay? So how do I do that now? It's going to be 18 times what?
0.4226.
Divided by?
0.9848.
On these kind of calculators, it's hard to do like very complex order of operations because they don't know the order of operations. I gave you a sheet, a green sheet. Okay? So on the test, you would have found sine of 25 by using this sheet and get this number. And you would use the sheet to get this number. And then you would have to use a regular rinky-dinky calculator. Okay? To do the same thing. 18 times 0.4226 divided by 0.9848. Okay? Now, if you're using a graphing calculator, does anybody have their graphing calculator with them right now? Then it's actually easier. You don't have to you could just put it all in there and it's true to form. She has her name on it and everything. Okay, you could just go 18 times sine of, but I would, okay, see they have sine of 25 divided by sine of 100 and it would get it for you. Oh, what happened? Let's go to mode. Oh, degree. It has to be in it has to be in degree mode. So let's try it again. Okay. That's why during the test I always told you guys make sure you're in degree mode. Okay. And plus, yeah, you had the chart. So, okay, questions on law of sines. You could have used the law of cosines for this. It's a little bit more complicated, but you could very well get the same answer using law of sines. You could have also used, instead of this one, you could have used sine of 55 over 15 and still get the same answer. Okay, so based on looking at this right way to do it and looking at what you guys did on a test, can you guys, some of you guys just tell me what are some errors that you guys made? Genesis?
I used cosines. I just didn't know how to proceed after the cross.
Okay, cross multiplying tripped you up?
Yeah.
What about you?
Wrong equation.
Wrong equation. So for a test, make sure you have the right equation because you're not going to get very far with the wrong equation. What else?
I didn't know the equation.
You didn't know the equation. Anybody else? Huh? Did you show your work?
This is like really neat. On the calculator.
Let me see that. Okay. What did you do in your calculator?
I plugged it in.
Plugged what in?
Well, I didn't. I just plugged in those numbers into the calculator.
Like how?
He got the answer.
Wait. How?
She just went over it. Like, you can bust that. But I'm saying, how did you do it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say it again because
Oh, really?
I do first.
Uh-huh.
You divide sine 25 on each side.
Oh, so you did an extra step. But okay, so fine. Okay, so he divided sine 25 on each side. Okay. And then? Okay, but even if you were to do that, which is okay, that's an extra step that you need to show me what you did. There's at least 2 steps you need to get from here to the answer, which you did not show me, which could mean that you didn't know what to do and you just knew the answer because I gave it to you the next day. But how, you have to, yeah, I did. But you have to prove it. That's why it's in red. Remember?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, the next day. So you could have gone home that day. It doesn't even matter if it was the same day. You have to show me the steps. If you don't show me the steps, math is not about the answer I told you. The math is about the process. Do you have a complaint? Okay. All right. Okay, you guys, so going forward, you guys, what are some things to remember about when do we use the law of sines? When you have 2 angles on one side or 2 sides and 1 angle. But they have to be opposite from each other, okay?
So which one's the one that works with everything no matter what?
Yeah, no, you have to. And you guys, there are 2 problems that are very useful in the RMP. I will, at the end of class, I will point it out to you. That tells you, like, it makes you go look at, like, when can you use law of sines for this problem? When can you use law of cosines? It makes you, like, kind of figure that out. So that's good. So make sure when you're doing this problem, first you know how to set up the problem. You need to know what does the A, capital A stand for, what does the little a stand for, where do the angles go, where do the sides go. Make sure you cross multiply properly. And make sure you know how to use the calculator. Okay? Now, if you didn't get A, it was pretty hard for you to get B, because B asked you to find the area of this triangle. Well, tell me what you guys are thinking when I ask you to find the area of a triangle. Okay, well, normally the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, but why can't I not use that on this? It's not a right triangle, not perpendicular, so I have to use the other formula. The area of any triangle is 1/2.
So I have a question. But even when we had like to figure out the area of isosceles triangles and stuff, that's not a right triangle. So we use that formula like even.
Well, on isosceles triangles, we use the height. That's a good point. But we had the height. Yeah.
But can't you do that to like the B point all the way down?
Yeah, if you could figure out what that height is. But it's not given. But back when we did that, they gave you the height. Very good point. Okay. Yeah. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 A times B times what? Sine of C. A lot of you guys just got this whole thing wrong because you put cosine in here. You memorized the formula wrong. You saw this C and you remembered that as cosine. Okay? Now what does A, B, and C stand for though? A stands for a side, B stands for a side. What does C stand for? Angle, which angle? The included, it has to be the middle, the included angle. Okay? It's got to be the angle in between the two sides. Okay? Now don't get tripped up by A, B, and C. Okay? So on this triangle, give me 3 options. Okay, there's 3 ways you could have done it. I could have done 1/2 what times what? 15 times 18, then I would have to multiply by the sine of which angle? 25. Or I could do 15 times this one, which is 7.7, times the sine of 100. Or I could do 7.7 times 18 times the sine of 55. You see how that works? There's 3 ways to do the problem. So let's just choose the most, just any of them. So let's say A equals 1/2 times 15 times 18 times what? Sine of 25. We already know what the sine of 25 is, right? Remember we said sine of 25 is 0.4226, and do all that on your calculator and you should get 50 something, right? Okay, so how do I do 1/2 on a calculator? 0.5, right? Because half is a decimal. 0.5 times 15 times 18 times 0.4226. Oh, I got 60. Let me just make sure. 0.5. No, 1/2 times 15 times 18 times 0.4226. Yeah, I just 57.051. What is my units? If this is area, units squared. Okay? Questions on this problem? All right. 9 is the clencher. Okay. This one, what information did they give me? All sides. They gave me side, side, side. So which law must I use? Cosine, law of cosines. I can't use law of sines because I don't have any angles. Okay, so this is a law of cosines problem because it's SSS. Okay, now first step, you have to know the formula. What is the formula? C squared equals A. So it's almost like the Pythagorean theorem, but you have to do minus, some of you guys said plus, 2 times AB times cosine of big C. Here's what's important. You guys, it doesn't matter who's A, B, and C, okay? I could call this ABC, I could call this ABC, I could call this ABC, it doesn't matter, okay? What is important is that whatever this side is has the angle across from that angle. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so what does this represent? This C squared? A side or an angle? What about A? Is that a side or an angle? B? Okay? What does that C represent? An angle. Which angle? The one that's across from that one. Okay? So what angle did they ask me to find in the problem? They asked me to find A. ¿Ya no? So where am I going to put A in this equation? Into this A? No, here, because that's the only angle. So can I rewrite this as cosine of A? If that's A, what else has to change?
C.
Over here, it's going to be A squared equals what?
A squared plus B squared.
No, 8B squared plus C squared minus what? 2 times what? It has to be these two, right? Do you see how this is the same thing? The only reason I did that, it doesn't matter. I could call it anything. I could call it Q squared equals L squared plus M squared minus 2 what? L squared plus M squared minus 2 L M times cosine of what? Big Q. It doesn't matter. But the reason I changed it is because in the end, I'm looking for this angle. And that's A. So I wanted to put that here. Okay? All right. So which is the small a then? The side that's opposite from the angle A, right? So that's 5. Which one's a small b? The one that's opposite from the angle B. So it's going to be this one. And then this is going to be C. Okay, so which number should go here? 5. So most of the people that got it wrong, it's because you put the wrong one here. Okay, so the other one's going to be 5 squared plus 3 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 3 times 7 times cosine of A. Okay? A lot of you guys put 3 squared in the front or 7 squared in the front because it's a quote, quote, hypotenuse. Yeah. Go, Yums.
I thought you said it didn't matter.
It doesn't matter what you call them here, but if you're missing this angle, well, whatever that is has to be opposite from this. So I'm looking for this. Which side is opposite from this missing angle?
Yeah, but okay, so why can we keep it as C?
Okay, we could keep it as C.
Miss, but then wouldn't you need to use law signs after?
Yeah. So tell me what you wanted to do. Let's see.
No, I'm just saying,
So when you say leave it as C, what would you plug into this C? Would you still plug in 5?
No, the 7.
Oh, okay. Let's try that. You guys, this is good. Stick with me, all right? Yumi wants to put 7 here. So 7 squared equals, because a lot of people did that. 7 squared equals 5 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 5 times 3 times cosine of C. Yeah? That is a true statement. And in the end, if you solve for it, what are you going to be able to find? C. Right? But did they want C? They want A.
But you can still do it.
You could still do it and then take an extra step.
You have to use the law signs afterwards from C to get to A.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so do you guys all see why this 5 has to be here instead of the 3 or the 7? Because the 5 is across from the A and you're looking for the A. Now, if you know that your missing one is not a side but an angle, you know that your last step should be cosine inverse, right? All right, let's go. 5 squared is 25, 3 squared is 9, 7 squared is 49, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 7 is 42, cosine of A. Okay, tell me, what's 9 plus 49? 58. And then do I subtract 42? Let me just... Should I do 58 minus 42? No. A lot of people try to do that. Why are they trying to do that? They're trying to subtract. But why can we not do that? Because it's something minus something times something. So technically the multiplication must go first. But I don't know what to multiply by because I don't know what A is. So what should I do? Divide. When you don't know what to do because it looks scary, just make it into simpler numbers. Can you just imagine in the world when things were easy? If instead of 25, if it was 5 equals 8 minus 2x, what would you do first? Okay, do you guys see how I just compared that? You would subtract 8 first. You wouldn't do 8 minus 2, right? Would you divide by 2? No, you would subtract 8 first. So let's subtract 58. 25 minus 58 is negative 8. No. Negative, sorry. I went crazy for a minute there. Okay, I'm going to move all of this over here. Negative 33 equals negative 42 cosine of A. Then what? Divide by what? Negative 42. Okay, so these become what? What's negative 42 divided by 42? 1. So cosine of A equals, okay, the negatives could cancel, so just this fraction. Okay, you might make it into a decimal, but you don't have to. Okay. Is everybody with me here? Now, I was not so strict with this period last time, but you guys need to get the right notation. A lot of people after this said, okay, so cosine inverse of A equals, I don't know, something weird. I don't know, just all some weird stuff, okay? Just some weird stuff. But you got the right answer, but you just said it in a wrong way. But the way you say it is important. So if cosine of A equals 33 over 42, then what? You know what I realized? I think it's probably easiest for you if, because you guys like to do things to both sides, right? You want to get A by itself. Who's bothering the A? Cosine. How do you uncosine it? Cosine inverse both sides. So cosine inverse the 33 out of 42, cosine inverse the cosine of A. Do you guys see what I did? The purple is just the same, but I put a cosine inverse in front of it. Okay? Do you see that? So what's the cosine inverse of cosine? If you cosine something and then uncosine it, then it's going to undo each other. So what's going to be left? A. Good. And then what's the cosine inverse of 33 out of 42? That you could do on your calculator. And you're going to get 38.2. Okay? So there's 3 tricky things about law of cosines. Well, first you have to know when to use it. Then you need to know which numbers are going to be your A, B, and C to plug in, right? Okay? Sometimes A is not the missing one. Sometimes it's a side that's missing, okay? So you have to be, that's why you have to use your homework. I gave you a whole worksheet on this with different practice problems, right? Then you could make a mistake in the algebra if you try to do 58 minus 42 first. And then you might make a mistake with your cosine inverse. So those are some pitfalls to be careful of, okay? Questions? If you need, Yes. Yes. Okay, and that's a good question. In your RMP, there was a little math note that said angles need to be to the nearest 10th of a degree, and sides need to be to the nearest 1,000th. So sides, you need to do 3 decimal places. Angles, you need to do 1 decimal place accuracy. Okay? All right, you guys, I'm going to give you guys a little brain break. But before that, if you guys need to get more practice on this, what should you do? Do you think just doing this one thing is going to make you like ace it on the retake? You think, right? But it's not true. Okay? No, you actually have to practice it by yourself when I'm not there to hold your hand. Okay? So, yes, we're going to do a retake on this, and I'll explain it in a sec. Yeah. I love Fatih. She's so funny. I know. Remember this worksheet?
Yep.
The one that you just skipped over? Do it again. Okay, this one is law of sines practice, law of cosines. And then the other side was do it from fresh, you know? And this one was 30, 60, 90 triangles. Okay? All right, let's take a 2-minute brain break. You could chat it up with your partner. Yes. Yes. Hi.
I had a question on like one of the problems.
Okay, one sec.
On this one, I was wondering, like, I got the correct points, but like the only thing that I know this is supposed to be going up with flip.
What? I know. Because if I stop the video, it's gonna have to like create a whole new video. That only freezes the screen. It doesn't stop the video. What's the answer?
The points are like that.
Hey, where's my other page? You guys, we're gonna talk about this next, so please get it out, okay? Okay, so we're gonna flip it and multiply by 2. I'm gonna flip it, multiply by 2. Flip it, multiply by 2. Flip it, multiply by 2. Okay, and then you're going to move it up 2 and over 1. I see.
What I did wrong is the graph, see how this one goes up 3, I did it pointing down.
Yeah. Give it 2. Because you're missing this and that.
Or is there like a certain amount of points you're supposed to use, or is it supposed to
Well, however many you need to make it accurate. But if you want this line to be accurate, then you need 2 points, right? And if you want this line to be accurate, you need 2 points. So I would always just choose the corners. Yeah, it was to do the test correction. I was looking at this.
I was looking at this and you put that I got 7 out of 10, but I only got 1 minus 10.
Oh yeah, you got 2 more, right?
Mm-hmm. I got the more for this one.
9, you got 9. Okay, guys. All right, so we're back. Okay, so mira, what I want you guys to do is, okay, first of all, some people ask me, oh, what should I do? How should I, raise my grade, whatever. One of the things you can do is study for your finals. These are the things that are going to be on the final, right? On the back, I want you to write a list. I want you to write with me the list of everything that's going to be in your grade book for every test that's going to be in your grade book, okay? On the back of this paper that I told you to get out. Where were you when I told you to have this out for I know, but at the beginning of this class, I said get it out. At the beginning of this break, I said get it out. He's just sitting there, chilling like a villain. And now he asked me, okay, yes. 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 I did.
Did you say that?
Last night. Yes. Okay. Oh yes, all the chapters 2 stuff is due tomorrow. If I haven't checked your chapter 2 yet, then I'm gonna take it home this weekend. So make sure you bring everything for chapter 2 tomorrow. All your RMPs for chapter 2. Okay?
Miss, did you collect the Thanksgiving packet already?
Yes, of course.
But Lindsay told me that you gave it back to us so we can study. That's wrong.
But that was Monday.
Yeah.
Well, do I turn it in?
Yeah. Okay, for the Unit 1 retake, we have 3 parts. Okay? Okay, got it right quickly. The Unit 1 retake, we have functions, triangles, and radians. Okay? For Unit 2 test, we have piecewise functions and algebra. Okay, for the algebra test, which was the Thanksgiving packet, we have part 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first part was equation solving. It's like find y, find the inverse. The second one was exponents, mainly. The third one was parent graphs. I put it in as a separate grade. And your transformations was a separate grade. Okay? We're going to take one more. Okay? We're going to take one more. We haven't taken this one yet. Factoring and rational expression. Yesterday we had tutoring on factoring. Okay? These are all the things that will be in your grade book. Okay? And then you have your final exam, which will replace your midterm. Okay? All right, so how many things will be in the grade book? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 things in the grade book. Okay? Now, we haven't taken this yet or this yet. Okay? Now, are you guys clear on what I mean when I say all this stuff? Okay. Like what it's talking about? Okay. This one, I'm going to take it out. Okay? The algebra part. Because people did really awful on it, and it's going to be replaced by the new algebra test that I gave you this week. Okay? So let me give you an example. Okay, and all of these, this is pretty much exactly how it looks in your grade book. So you go next to each one and see what percent you got. Okay? That's what I highly recommend. You know how you guys come to me and say, Miss, what can I do to raise my grade? Well, you know what? Why don't you go next to each one and put your percent, and then you could tell. By the way, this one is worth more. Okay, this is worth 16 points. These ones are worth 4. Okay, this one's worth 12. These ones are worth 4. Okay. Okay, so meaning this one is worth a lot more, and this one's worth a lot more, because these are actually pre-calculus topics. The rest is kind of algebra. Okay. So let me just quickly go through with you. When I say functions, what do I mean by functions? Okay? When I say functions, I mean, can you transform it and graph it? Can you do f of x and g of x? Or f of g of x and g of f of x? Can you find the inverse? Okay? When I say functions, I mean, can you tell me how to transform a non-parent graph? Can you tell me how the transformation worked? Do you know how to find the length of a segment? Do you know how to find the midpoint? Do you know how to find the distance? Do you know how to find the equation of a line in point slope form? That's functions, okay? This one, there's no more retakes. But this is heavy on the final. So you still need to make sure you know that stuff if you didn't do well. Okay, when I say triangles, what do I mean? It's what we did today. Okay? Law of sines, law of cosines. That one we're going to retake. Okay? Or those who want to can retake. Okay? Next week. We're going to start retakes on Monday. Okay? Be ready. The radians, we're also going to retake. When I say radians, you guys know what I mean, right? Can you convert from from radians to degrees and from degrees to radians. Can you find the special angles on the unit circle? Okay? We're going to retake that.
Which one you take the highest score or?
You should do better. I will make you take it until you do better. How about that? Okay? Okay. All right, well, you're going to take that risk? Okay, piecewise functions, also on final, heavy on final. No retakes, though. When I say piecewise functions, what do I mean? Can you graph a piecewise function when it looks like this? Can you tell me how to make it continuous? If I tell you what transformation happened, can you give me a new equation of the piecewise function like this? Yeah. Can you tell me what the period is? Okay? I'll give it back to you guys later. Okay, this one it's still in your gradebook, but I will take it out soon and replace it by these. Okay? When I say out solving, what did I mean? Well, I will give this back to you in a minute, but it meant the first page, can you solve for x or for y? The second page was, can you do exponents? The third page was, can you do parent graphs? And the last separate grade was, can you transform that graph? Okay? Now, those are 4 separate grades in the grade book. Okay? That was all based on the Thanksgiving packet. But I'm adding factoring, which we did not do in the Thanksgiving packet, but we did do in tutoring yesterday. And if you want extra practice, I could give it to you. If you missed yesterday's tutoring, there's a video on Schoology, and I could give you worksheets. The video is not going to be as helpful for you if you weren't actually there, because I was like walking around helping people, but I think it'd be okay actually. Okay. So these guys, we are going to do retakes as well. Okay? I want you guys to take these until you pass. There's no reason you should not pass these Algebra 1 and 2 topics. We're going to do all of those retakes next week. I don't have an exact day for each one yet. It's not going to be like whenever you feel like it. I'm going to tell you exactly when. It could be in class or after school or at lunch. So you, this weekend, need to be ready for all these retakes, okay? And you have to be ready for this. This one's going to be a test, not a retake, a first take with no...
Next week?
Yes, next week with no retakes, okay? And final exam, no retakes. So do you guys kind of feel like you know what you need to do to raise your grade? So you know what you need to do is you need to find out what your percentage was on each one. That way you can figure out, hey, do I want to retake or do I not want to retake? Okay? You need to go out and illuminate. Okay? This, just one no, and this one you did already, so. And this one I just don't have time. Okay? All right, so we're going to look at this right now, your chapter 1, your algebra test, okay? And it's time, yeah. I have to explain to you. Karina?
Oh yeah, I remember I had that in.
So, okay, you guys, so real quick before we take off, I want you guys to know, okay, right here, this first score on the first page, this is part 1, equation solving. Write this next to your score, okay? That's your first score. Okay, write this down. First page, that score is your equation solving score. Okay? So that's for number 1 through 8. Problems 1 through 8 was your equation solving score. It was 3 points for each problem. Okay? On the second page, you have another score. That's your exponent score. That's for number 9 through 20. Your exponent score, that's number 9 through 20.
What was the first one?
Okay? The first one was equation solving, 1 through 8. You have to have 70% or above to pass, otherwise you need to retake it. Okay? You need to retake it if you don't have 70% and above. The third, okay, on the last page, this score is for your parent graphs. It's out of 31. It's number 21 through 24. But the last score is out of 8, and that's number 4. That's your transformations, and that's for number 25. Does that make sense? So on the graph, you should have 2. Oh shoot, that's never mind. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so you should have had 2 scores on the back, right? 1 out of 31 and 1 out of 8. One was for your regular parent graphs and one was for transformations. So you could retake them individually. Like if you only want to retake parent graphs or if you only want to retake transformations, okay? Depending on your score. You need to get 70% or above, okay? Huh? 25 gets its own score out of 8. Yeah. No, not next week. Okay? Okay, let me tell you right now. Let me tell you real quick. If you got on the first page out of 24, so you have 70%. 70% of 24 is, you needed a 17 or above to have passed the first page. 17 or above to pass the first page. 17 or above. The second page was out of 36. 70% of 36 is 25.2, so you should have a 26 or above to pass the second page. 26 or above to pass the second page. Okay? The last page, out of 31, 31 times 70% is 21 point. So you need 22 and above to pass the parent graphs. 22 and above to pass the parent graphs. And the last one, the little transformations, 70% of 80 is 5.6. 8, so you have to have 6 and above to pass the last one. 6 and above to pass the transformations one. Okay? So then you should figure out which ones you're going to retake. I would highlight, if I were you, the ones you want to retake. Highlight on here the ones you want to retake based on your score from Illuminate. Okay? I think Yumi's praying. What? Good thing you can retake. Yeah, so you guys can pack it up. Oh, wait. One thing. Today we're going to do exponents after school. Exponents, which was the second page of that test.
This one?
Homework.
I got it. Chapter 2, right?
Can you guys do test corrections on the last section? Okay, the last page of that test. Okay, and then the first page of this this guy, the Thanksgiving packet. So the last page of chapter 1 retake and the first page of this packet. Okay? Yes. Test corrections for
I
homework.
have a question.
And come to tutoring. Woo!